Big news today. While on the shitter, I found out big news. That's where most of the big news comes when you're on the shitter.
That's the only time you check your email?
That my first big attempt to get an article curated on Medium, it got curated.
Awesome.
My article that was called Why I Procrastinated My Proposal, which has some good alliteration there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty well-written title, Why I Procrastinated My Proposal. And the idea behind the article was, part of me on the title, I think it seems, I wasn't trying to blame myself in the article, but the article is really just about why there are forces that exist in life that keep us from like taking the next step in certain ways. Mm-hmm. And we always talk about the book, The War of Art, and how there's a creative resistance. He uses the term resistance to pretty much talk about this negative energy that keeps us from making the leap, whether it's, getting into podcasting or a writer or baby blogging, whatever it is you want to do. If you have like this really good idea, but you're afraid to start, it's probably resistance. You should probably buy the book, The War of Art. But once you open up the laptop and once you sign on to Wix.com or do whatever it is you want to do, it becomes easy. I couldn't get you off your laptop the other day. You were so busy working on the new website for the travel blog.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is ADHD.
Yeah, but no, you got started. So what was it? Some people just need to literally, like we had to literally get you your laptop, go buy you the laptop. And then you knew that was like, all right, I've committed to it. I put the money on the credit card. Let's make this happen, And they're forces. There's different forces that need to make things go into action. Whether it's like someone, if you get broken up with, you're like, you know what? Fuck. Or you get fired. Someone gets fired. Like, you know what? Fuck. Or global pandemic. You're like, if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it?
Well, it's true that sometimes and some people really need the universe to make a decision for them. Because that can be kind of a gift, right? If you get fired from your job, it's like it takes the decision out of your hands instead of you having to, labor over what if, should I, shouldn't I, to quit your job. It's a gift that you're given.
The best case scenario is when the universe makes the decision.
You can't talk yourself out of it, right? It's like getting pushed off the cliff. We say leap and the net will appear, but maybe you're up there and you're scared of bungee jumping or whatever. Somebody just gives you a shove.
Yeah. That used to be the thing with you teach kids to swim, sink or swim, Johnny, and you throw them in the pool. I don't think you can't do that anymore with parenting.
Totally. You still throw your kid
in the pool?
Yeah, absolutely.
No. I don't need a kid who's afraid of pools because you pushed him in.
No, that's how they have you ever watched those videos of babies?
That's different. You're teaching that for survival. You throw the baby in and they know how to float up because they got a fat belly. You know what I mean? I don't know. But so for me, talking about resistance, I think when the universe makes the decision for you, the question is, how many times did you not listen to your intuition before the universe is like, all right, you're fired, we're done,
Yeah, and that sort of resistance will, until you learn to address it and overcome it, it will continue to pop up in different areas of your life. But it takes some real soul searching to be able to look at yourself and be like, okay, why am I standing in my own way on this? If I know it's something that I really want, if I know that it's something that I'm capable of, why am I so afraid to get started?
I think the first step is to look at your limitations. What limitations? So let's use...
and limitations are...
They can be man-made, psychological. They can be real.
They can be just a story that you're telling yourself.
But also, what's a real limitation anyway? I mean, honestly, what's a real...
there's more and more evidence that we're totally just living in a simulation, right?
Boy, we'll get into some of the reasons why, but yeah, I just feel like I'm, it's a strange world out there. But I'll say using this article as a case study, the reasons I procrastinated my proposal, things we've talked about, the idea as a guy who's, a struggling comedian, just trying to hustle my ass off. Talk about sex life. I mean, nothing was worse for our relationship than when I was working extra hours driving Uber. Nothing was worse. I was working until 5 a.m. on weekends. You were getting up early. I mean, I would literally wake up, roll out of bed, and just go straight to work. I wasn't even seeing you. It was a whole mess. It was not good. It was bad. And, as soon as, again, talk about the universe. The universe put me in a bad car accident because of that. I still did it for a few months after that. I got out of it. It took a little bit of time to adjust. But the idea that you need, you need to know what your healthy relationship is, but know when you're not taking the next steps. So I couldn't even get my debt paid from my car accident. It took like 4 years for that to settle. It was just insane. If anyone wants to hear the nitty gritty story, it's on Patreon. I can't share it here, but the full story is on Patreon. But it took years to settle. It took years to get back to the basics. And when you're struggling to even like not have credit card debt, just getting break even is the hardest part. That's like the thing that with society is like they're every company's trying to find ways to get you to finance with them and this and that. It's just like they're trying to lock you down. And anyway, so I finally got to the place where like we booked a job. I got paid some money that canceled all my debt. It was amazing. Okay, now we start moving forward, but I still had the resistance that once I got the engagement ring, then I'd have to do the wedding, all these things that were like huge things. And I always thought, man, if I could just be like a baller who has sold my screenplay, has all this money, throw it on the black card, take the whole family, like do it proper. So part of my resistance has been wanting to do it proper. And unfortunately, Tasha,
that's an expectation, right?
But the funny part is that you, like my love for you, all that has nothing to do with it.
But you made up these scenarios in your head, right? I mean, that's really what you're saying is that you were telling yourself that you couldn't do A and B at the same time, that you had to first complete A to have B.
Right. And so then everything's, if I do this, then this. If I can do this, then this. And that's what a limitation is. So I'll read for you. So the article got posted. I worked with this guy, Dan. He's the creative editor for P.S. I Love You, which is Medium's largest relationship-based publication. So a lot of people read Medium articles and don't really know what they are, and I totally get that. I'm always against blogs and jazz, not jazz, but
but
these stupid
Medium is
listicles.
not just blogs. I mean, you can get some really interesting info and well thought out stuff on Medium. There was this article that I shared a couple months ago that was confessions of a former bastard cop, and it was a retired cop that was just kind of highlighting stuff that went on in his department that he was not proud of. It's a lot of people giving personal experiences, not necessarily people who are journalists or writers, but people who have a very niche expertise. They feel compelled to share what they know because they are an expert in their field. You'll get some people chiming in, in the age of COVID about medicine, whatever. It's a fun place to go to read stuff that's kind of straight from the horse's mouth, not filtered through.
The base of Medium is a blog. And then from there, you can submit it to their specific publications. They have tech publications, all these different publications. So at the very least, anyone can do it. And my first article I wrote, which was called the 4 Tips for Living with a Highly Sensitive Person, was a fun little listicle thing where I just said get Bluetooth headphones, don't annoy her, don't, no emotional labor, give them space, typical things. And I made, I tried to keep the spin fun, but also real advice. And I guess for me, I don't think many dudes are in the relationship ball game because we've just always been trained not to talk about it. It's just a slight advantage if you're a guy and you're willing to talk about the emotional side of things because, all we're taught to talk about is sex, hook up, pick up, stuff like that.
And I think a lot of guys run into trouble once they get into a relationship. They can't keep a relationship going because their whole lives, men have sort of seen in the family, in school, and wherever, that women will defer to them or kind of work around them. Moms kind of traditionally have done all of the picking up, and they can't convince their sons to put their laundry in the laundry hamper, so they just give up on it and work around. And so I think a lot of guys haven't been trained to look inward, do the emotional work, and realize this in a relationship, we're talking about a partnership, right? And your girlfriend doesn't want to be your mom and is not going to work around your hang-ups.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I'm thinking of some of my friends Channing, Gooch, love them to death. I've never once had either one of them be hey, Dave, can I ask you this advice, bro advice? You know what I mean? I've got guys like Darren that's asking me hey, I did some weird things. What do you think of this? I've got some friends that are willing to bet. It's I'm the most open to my friends And like, I don't need them to spill their guts to me if they don't want to. But what if they do? What if they're like on the fence about something or this or that?
Yeah, where does a guy go for advice?
It's the sap, folks. So that's what it is. It's just an open conversation. It's not. It doesn't have to be a gender thing. It's just for some reason, and I'm sure there's a percentage of women that have a hard time opening up as well. But all I can do is address my guys out there, and a lot of listeners that will write in because they don't know me personally, so they feel like they can, which I love that. sexactuallypodcast@gmail.com. Write in. You know what I mean? We're obviously happy to talk about our relationship, but yeah, these guys don't open up, and it's just like, well, man, that's cancerous. There's a lot going on in there. So I talked a lot about that in the article when it comes to like, okay, well, the first step for me to like leap in the net will appear was to start asking some friends who have proposed advice. My buddy Miko, he's like, you got to get on this site. It was like called Rare Carrot, where they compare diamond ring prices. And that's good because it's almost like you don't want to go to the mechanic, or like, I don't want to go to the dentist, right? Because I don't want to know what they have to say. Now that check engine light's on.
Yeah, but avoiding it is only going to make it worse.
I had one of those stickers that said like, I voted, right? And I just like put it over the dashboard where my check engine light is. You can't even see it. Someone wants to steal my car battery? Good. Now you can't light up the check engine light. I don't want to address my problems. And that's what kind of resistance is the unknown. So, and by the way, I wanted to ask you this. Do you think you would have resistance if you had to find the perfect ring for me? And it was like 3 months salary, whatever the bullshit of it all is. Like, tell me how you would have dealt with it.
I don't know. I mean, well, this kind
you can't even buy me a birthday card.
No, so that's not true. There. I've bought all the cards. It's writing them that's hard.
Every card that Tasha's got me is in her dresser because she doesn't know how to write. Hello, I love you. Love, Tasha.
I can totally write that.
Write it.
No, you hold the standard. You set the bar so high for the type of love letters you expect
as a medium author. You're saying
listen. You pre-criticize me for the cards that haven't even like been manifested
anything
yet.
You want to write?
You tell me no, that's not true.
I'm like a dad.
You're saying
with a
that
shitty
now, but
kid.
you literally have. You've always said, "Oh, it's gonna be 3 words. Oh, it's gonna be stupid. Not gonna be heartfelt." Blah, blah, blah. You've already put this pressure on me to perform when it comes to card writing. So now I'm frozen with fear.
Why don't you workshop it with some of your Instagram people? DM Tasha Courtney, and help her write me a dang Valentine's / birthday card. We're running out of holidays. You're just mounting up these cards. Anyway, continue. So do you think you could, do you think you would have had the same resistance that I had?
I think when you know something is important to your partner, you find a way to make it work, right? If I know that one thing that I do really annoys you, I'm going to try hard not to do that thing. It's simple. So if I know that like you really wanted a proposal in this, wacko world you're asking us to imagine. Yeah, I think I would take the baby steps to make it work because, the choice is propose or ruin the relationship.
Well, I mean, not every, and it's important. Like I said in the article, some people are fine having a long domestic partnership and they don't need proposal.
But if you
that's totally fine.
that's something that you needed,
of course, it's not asking much for you to want the ring, because I understand. I wish society wasn't this way, but I understand the pressures and the shot clock working against you when your friends start having. I mean, yeah, when your sister got engaged, we weren't in a good place, like for a different reason. And then I found that out, and I was like, golly, this sucks for me because your sister's younger, and it was just like, and that wasn't motivation to propose. Because like we had already started looking at rings and all that, but it was kind of just like I could understand that the comparisons that happen in life. It's normal to compare yourself to your other friends. It's normal to compare yourself to your younger sister. It's a thing.
Did you compare yourself to him? Did you look at Tony, who is probably 5 years or more younger than you, and compare yourself to him, thinking, "Oh, this young guy feels sure of himself, took the leap, was proactive." Didn't need my sister prodding him.
No, and it's no offense to Tony, and I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but like he's in med school, and like I don't know what his financial situation is, but I've been working my ass off on every level to get cash flow. You know what I mean? I was working my ass off on every level to do all that. Meanwhile, pursuing all of my dreams, which haven't really paid off. You know what I mean? So like, I wasn't just sitting around getting beers with the bros, not putting the effort in. I just wasn't there. So I had no.
But were you really not there? I actually had this conversation.
Could I have bought a ring 2 years ago? No, it would have been the dumbest way to like start, because I would have had to buy it on like some credit system. It would have been bad. Yeah. I mean, and so we posted, I posted the article, why I procrastinated my proposal. And one of the comments on Facebook was from Carmel Rogers, right? That's her name. And she was she goes, I'm glad you waited, because she was one of the Australians we met in Thailand that we got to hang out with the night before I proposed. And they were all wasted, and their husbands were like, oh, you should have proposed already, not knowing I had, the ring warmed up, ready to sling at you the next morning. So then we saw them at breakfast. We were like, look at this. It was amazing. It was like perfect. I don't regret any of it. We would probably never even talk about this if it wasn't for this article that I wrote. But yeah, I wasn't there for whatever reasons, limitations, you do self-actualize limitations. So to answer your question, which you haven't asked yet, if it was 1 year into dating and I knew I wanted to marry you, could I have started putting money away? Yes.
Yeah, and that you literally did read my mind just now, because that's what I'm saying is that most people, right? I mean, it is. It's like it's something that you have to choose to do. And I had this conversation with another girl in a Facebook group a few days ago. She was feeling bummed because she's been with this guy 6 years. They have a kid together. She has expressed that she really wants to get married, and
they have a kid.
Yeah. And it just kind of like laughs it off. Right. Among other things, he had like made some kind of like cruel jokes about it. And she was asking these women, the other ladies in the group, advice. What should I do? And it's like if you have expressed that this is something that is a want for you, this is a priority in your relationship, you want to be married, he either needs to start taking those baby steps and overcome these sort of mental blocks that he has against the idea of marriage, or he needs to specify, I'm never going to be down for marriage, and you have to decide what you want to do about that.
And luckily for me,
because if you have different values and different priorities about like what your relationship looks like, it's never going to work.
For us, there wasn't any like rejection of wanting to get married. It was kind of like I always kept my books open to you and showed you like, look, I might not have money saved, but I have a lot of debt that was wiped out. Like there was a lot of efforts to get out of that. So once I was able to get out of it, I got out of it fast.
But you realize that not like having a plan can help you to accelerate getting out of debt.
Exactly.
Right? We talk about this on Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps or Choose FI. Like it's all about a plan. Step one is making a budget.
And that's why
knowing what's coming in and what's going out.
That's what makes our partnership good, because a lot of my leap in the net will appear, go on and get it. I've done to help you, and a lot of your pragmatic do these specific things regardless of cash flow, blah, 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 has helped me. And that's the truth. Like we've helped each other where I'm like, you got to just create, babe. You got to just do it. Things will come. And then that's not always enough to have that. But like we both just have the separate tools. So while I didn't get that message right away, and I don't want to make the articles not about like I paid the price and I'll never make a mistake again, but it's about looking at like understanding what it was, what the resistance was. I'll read a quote. So, how douchey is this? I'm quoting my own article, but there's a way where like people can highlight something and share it. And somebody highlighted this quote from my article, and my immediate thought was that they were going to shit on it, because we just had that whole experience where we had 1,400 or so angry people on my YouTube video just shitting on it. So I was like, oh, what's she going to have to say about this? And it turns out she just like liked the quote. But the quote was this, isn't it possible to be more happily in love with a supportive partner while also racing towards my creative and professional goals at the same time? I needed to tear down the limiting walls I had constructed and get back to a life that wasn't so dependent on outside forces. So whenever you have any resistance, you just know you're letting someone else win. You're letting something else win on your resistance. And I was done with that. And we looked for a few months. I'm so glad we didn't get that ring in Fall River. It was nice, but it was whatever. But I've always told you all along, I'm not going to be the one that just surprises you with some ring you never heard of before. So that wasn't what it was all about. And then when I had literally prayed to whoever I am praying to, that I was like, look, if someone could take away the bullshit of finding the ring, it was like, hey, here's the one she wants. It's perfect. Done. And when I saw that, we found that was the one, done. I figured it all out because I had gone far enough to know what my hangups were. I got over them and then I was ready to act. We booked our flights to Thailand before we had even seen that ring. You tagged that ring. No. You tagged me in this, I think 4 months before we went to Thailand, 5 months before, you tagged me in this thing, this diamond ring regalia that was happening that you wanted me to go to while I was at work. I'd meet you there for lunch. We'd go check it out. I didn't take the bait. It was a big fight because you didn't think I cared about it. And I was like, you really wanted me to leave work to do this, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to get into it.
No, that's not what happened at all. You're completely rewriting history.
I'm trying to get this thing done with less than half an hour.
I hear that you're trying to get this thing done, but let's be honest about what happened.
Make it quick.
You blew it off.
Yeah, I was at work though.
No, it was different. We had talked about going to this thing. We had said, let's go. It's on a Sunday, right? But you didn't set aside the time and you never spoke of it again. You literally tried to ghost this thing, hoping that I would forget about it.
All right. So anyway, we meet with this lady, Grace. Jules by Grace is her Instagram, right? And we finally meet with her 5 months later. And we told her, hey, yeah, we tried to see you at this thing because she was a small dealer. They bring a briefcase. It looks like, nothing, but it's $1 million worth of diamonds, right? And we were like, we tried to see you at this event. And she was like, you know what? I didn't even have this ring yet. We got this ring right after. So it worked out in that way. I'm not saying everyone's resistance should work out, but just know that the best time to invest, they say is 10 years ago. The second best time is today, right? So for us to invest in a relationship, I don't think we need to look back and say we had 5 years of wasted time. We just had a roller coaster. I mean, a real battle between living in a really tough town, trying to make it, trying to get all my ducks in order and realizing you don't necessarily have to do that. But the brick wall of the engagement ring is a pain in the ass. I still believe intrinsically that the value is completely overinflated, run by the De Beers industry, all that jazz. But if that ring gets cut off your finger and stolen, I got insurance on it. Whatever. At this point, it's just like a savings account that doesn't have interest.
It's emotional.
No.
It has sentimental value.
I'm just saying, I got the insurance, so whatever.
Now every listener is going to be following me in the street.
Come on at it. We live on Vine Street in Los Angeles, California, 1912. Don't send us any postcards. That's not the real address. But I will tell you the address if you subscribe to the Patreon.
You're so ridiculous.
Just start leaking foot photos of Tasha just to get on the Patreon.